Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate this opportunity to testify.
You know the rule about testimony. You got 5 minutes, and you know, the green and yellow light. You're,
all right.
This isn't your first rodeo.
Uh-oh. I better get on with it then. Let me just note that I've heard a lot of talk about clean energy, and frankly, we haven't seen much progress on development of clean energy, not just during this last year of the first year of the administration, but also during the last administration.
So tell us how we get there, Mr.
Well,
Rohrabacher.
Well, let me just note that the clean energy sources are available to us. They are out there, but we keep hearing from this administration, and again from the past administration as well, statement after statement after statement, talk after talk after talk, and meeting after meeting and hearing after hearing. There has been so much hot air generated. This may well be the true source of man-made global warming.
Or a source of renewable energy.
It depends on how renewable it really is. But the best example I have is the fact that a year ago there were 120 applications waiting at the Bureau of Land Management for major solar generation projects in Bureau of Land Management land. And nothing has been done in the meantime, lots of rhetoric. And what's happened, the only thing that's changed is the stack of applications waiting for approval at the Bureau of Land Management has grown higher. Now it's 220, and in fact, if we would just utilize these proposals for generating solar energy in the desert, we could provide 30% of all of the energy used in American households throughout the country. But not one application has been granted over a 5-year period. Not one. And the stat keeps growing higher and higher, but we keep hearing more and more rhetoric, and we keep putting out more and more press releases, and we keep talking about the importance of the problem. Nothing is done to make sure that they can even grant the applications to move forward in building a solar energy system. Why? Because, well, perhaps one of the reasons is that those people at the Bureau of Land Management and some other people within the political process are not willing to move forward because they're concerned about the habitat of lizards and insects, much more than all of this rhetoric about how important it is to the people to have clean energy sources and how important it is to our economy to free ourselves from the dependence on overseas energy. So what's the solution? Let's move forward with Bureau of Land Management. Let's force them to move forward on these applications. I have a piece of legislation that I introduced that would suggest that, yes, clean energy production is so important, maybe we should not require the Bureau of Land Management and all of these companies to jump through all of these hoops that we require other American companies to do and other endeavors. Let's make sure that they are exempt from, because it's going to have such an important positive impact on our environment, let us exempt solar projects from the environmental impact report requirements that we require of other projects throughout our economy. That's it. On the face of it, solar energy production will be good for the environment. But because we hear environmental rhetoric, which is really couching or hiding the fact that what we're protecting are lizards and insects rather than people, we have managed to not move forward on over 220 applications now of projects that could be giving us clean energy, domestically produced. And let's just cut through that log jam. We have a possibility of doing it. I have a piece of legislation that will accomplish that, and I would hope that people pay attention to it. There's my testimony.
Well, thank you very much, Congressman Rohrabacher, for your testimony, and I concur with you about the backlog. And hopefully, we'll I mean, it's part of the purpose of this hearing is to hold this administration accountable to try to get through that backlog. Your notion about your legislation that this is somehow in part for all the reasons that have been stated, maybe the equivalent.
Mr. Chairman, you spoke out earlier and very heartfelt about the water shortage in California. And we know, and we are facing an energy shortage in the United States, which will get worse unless we actually go into production. And then it won't be a natural energy shortage, just like our water shortage in California is not natural. It's just we haven't taken the steps that will make sure that a growing population has the energy and the water it needs. You know the roadblocks that have happened in California.
No, I'm
You've been doing your best
painfully aware of them.
Right.
But the fact is that, I mean, it's quite right to point it out. I think the point you're trying to make is that if this is a critical need of our nation, much like the Manhattan Project was during World War II, then we ought to apply the same sort of energy and resources and effort.
But you see, Mr. Chairman, that required enormous amounts of money to be invested by the government.
Right.
This solution does not require us to do anything but get out of the way of the private sector, which is very anxious to move forward with clean energy projects, but are now being thwarted by the Bureau of Land Management.
Well, we hope in the second and third panel they'll point out how we can do just what you're suggesting we do.
All right.
We thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your patience.